Hello everyone, my name is Rajesh Kumar and I'm your DevOps SRE DevSecOps coach. I have close to 18 plus years of experience working in multiple MNCs around the globe and having in-depth knowledge of DevOps, SRE and DevSecOps. So I would like to introduce you one certification program in a DevOps, and that is we call it DevOps Certified Professional. Now this is a 2 months of program, 25 tools of DevOps you will learn, and apart from that you will also get the access to the LMS, lifetime access to the videos portal. It's a certification program, and you will have 25 assignments and 2 projects along with it. It's a completely weekend program, so here you have classes on Saturday and Sunday. So as part of this course, you will learn multiple things. Here you see that you will learn Linux, AWS, Docker, Jira, Confluence, Python, Git with GitHub, SonarQube, Maven, Gradle, Packer, Artifactory, Selenium, JMeter, Ansible, Kubernetes, Helm, Terraform, Jenkins, Datadog, Splunk, and Neuralink. Now, how do we, apply for this? So how can you reach out to us? So you have a WhatsApp number and email ID. So please reach out to us, and we'll help you to onboard this program. Apart from this DevOps certified professional programs, we are offering other certifications as well in a DevSecOps, SRE, and one of the very comprehensive programs which we have is in Master in DevOps Engineering. Yeah, so feel free to get in touch with us and then enroll for it. Thank you. Okay, so today the first question is, what is AWS? Okay, so first of all, when we try to understand that AWS, A stand for Amazon, W for web, and S for services. Now it's very simple, Amazon Web Services. But next time you will say, okay, Amazon, I understand that is a company name. Web also we understand is the internet. But what does that mean, services? So services means here you are talking about multiple services. For example, you are looking for the infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, you in platform as a service, function as a service, all these kind of services which you are looking for it. So you should come to AWS. I don't know how many of you understand this. I'll just go to Google and just one image will be sufficient for it. I think this is. So here, can you see my screen, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So what services you will get on AWS? What they provide actually? So they provide, if you look at this here, they provide everything. They provide all sort of services. So they provide networking services, storage, servers, and virtualization (VM). The VM which we had yesterday, they provide this kind of services, and they call it IS. So they have these services. On top of that, you decide operating system, middleware, runtime, data, and application. This is, you decide what you want on top of it. This part they will decide, AWS. So they call it infrastructure as a service. In simple way, if you want the virtual machines on AWS, you can go for infrastructure as a service. But they do provide a platform as a service also. Platform as a service means they have an infrastructure service, but on top of that, they offer the platform service like a database. So database they will run, you keep the data and run the applications. It's like this. Database, we call it RDS services. Okay, so that also you can get it. Software as a service means they will take care of everything from networking, storage need for running applications, servers, VMs, operating system, all the runtime and application, everything. And then you can just use it. So something like you can say SNS, sending an email, SES and all kind of things, SMTP server and all. You can use this. Gmail is also one form of SAS actually, right? So any kind of services you want, they'll give it to you. So AWS has more than 5,000 services, which includes all these things. Are you understanding, all of you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ramesh.
So at a high level, what services I'm talking about? Compute services. Then what else? Working services. What else?
Storage.
Storage service. Yeah. Security services. You need uh, networking solutions, security, DNS services, load balancing services, load balancers. You can have it, balancers. You know, so all kind of services you'll get it here at AWS. A lot of it is we have it. So I'll put it in a very simple way. Compute means virtual machine, the one which I created last day, I mean previous session. Storage means where do you store the data, how to set up a network, how to secure your account, how to domain name services and load balance the servers and compute. So at a high level, these are the foundation services you can call it. And top of that, so many services are there. A lot of services are there which you have to use it one by one. Okay. So now the question is, okay, fine. So how come they provide so much of services and worldwide? How come? But they did not did the great thing. They set up a data center, and all this data center, they have this infrastructure, so they are offering services. So if you have a curiosity to know, okay, which are the locations they set up a data center, so we can call it AWS region. In Azure also, okay. One more thing, whatever I'm teaching you, it's applicable for Azure also and Google Cloud also. So it's the same concept. Terminology is little bit different. Okay, that's all. So AWS region, you see that here. Look at this. These are the images. So here, I think this image is good. Look at this. These are the locations. I think this is quality is not good for that image. Probably this is good. Huh. So look at this. These are the locations. They have set up a data centers. One is in India. If you're from India, lots of them are from USA and Europe, and few Japan and Singapore and all, Hong Kong and all kind of things. I think Hyderabad there's a coming second one. Okay, so these are the regions they have set up a data center. What they call it? Regions. I think they have regions, multiple regions, and through that they are offer. So now if you want to run application in India, because your customers are in India, so you can run closer to them. Let's say your customers are in USA, so you can run in the USA regions, Oregon, California, Montreal, and many regions. Canada, we have it. So yeah, multiple regions are there. Now what they did, let's put it in this way. Let's say this is the world map, and then this is the one region. What they did, they divide this region into two part. Minimum two part. Minimum two part. So this region So minimum 2 part, it can be multiple part also. One region can divide into multiple part. So this is a one data center, and this is another data center, but but it's located in the same region. Okay, I'm putting in a very simple way. And this distance you have separate one, separate this data center and this data center is located in two different places. For example, if you are in Bengaluru, let's say this is located in I'm just giving an example, located in near to airport, and this is located near to Mysore Road. Both are in both two end, but we can call this Bangalore region, something like that. Okay, so it can be more distance also. So now the question is why they divide the one region and to keep it multiple, divide into multiple, one region to multiple. So something, let's say there's a tsunami happens, earthquake happens, riot happens, some electricity failure, some grid failure, you know, some security issue, terrorist attack, anything happen, it will happen at one place. Still that second place will be available. So available is availability. So what they call it, AGs, availability zone 1, availability zone 2. So in a one region, you may have a multiple availability zone. So now what you should do, one more thing here, the network between this region, this availability zone and this availability zone is intranet, means local internet. Are you understanding, all of you? All of you?
Yeah, Rajesh.
Yeah. So what you should do whenever you architect your application, here you should run one machine, and here you should run one machine. It can be multiple ages. So backup, if it is down because of some reason, this will be up and running and serving to the customers. So this is called ages, I mean availability zone. So I just want to show you some pictures so you'll have a little bit of mindset and remember that. Look at this here. See here. Or this one is good. Okay. Okay. So here there's one region, multiple availability zone, availability zone 1, availability zone 2, 3, and they are connecting through the very internet. I said because they have a resilient fiber, means dedicated network from that machine, and these are all the VMs you are running inside that. Okay, so like that. See, so this is the one region, California. They have a 3 availability zone, and they can local internet, I mean you can access it from that. Are you understanding all of this?
Yeah, Raj.
Yeah, Rajesh. Perfect.
Yeah. So this is the architecture, what it happened. More than that, right now you don't need to know. Only I'm teaching you only things which you want to know, you should know. Okay, so this is the things. We have a multiple region, more than 16 to 17 regions are there, and each region we have at least two. Okay, at least two. Earlier Mumbai region was two, now it's a three. So mind it, it can go up to six availability zone also. I have seen available somewhere in some region six availability zone. So like that. Okay, so now the question is, okay, fine, understood that plan for AWS and what are the services they offer, a lot of which, more than 5,000 services they have it. How can we get started actually? How can we get started? How can we get started? That is a question. So simple. I think each one of you must be having credit card, email IDs, and name. So what you can do, you can go to the AWS free tier, and then here free tier, and then you see that here you can use many services free, free up to 12 months, and some of the services is always free. Now you have to analyze all this thing in a better way. Compute 750 hours per month, 5 GB and this that. So this is the database. This is the DynamoDB, Saga, Lambda, Redshift, OpenSearch, and a lot of which we have. So you can get started. You can start the free trial options, create a free account, and up to 12 months it is free. Are you understanding, all of you? Hello.
Yes, Rajesh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, one thing you have to be very carefully. Yeah, you have to spend some time, some money also for learning purpose for sure. Okay. So, but one thing I would say, the rule you please remember, whatever you created, always forget to destroy the same time, same day, because we all are lazy people. I know that. I'm also lazy. You are also lazy. I have lost lots of money because of my laziness with cloud provider like AWS and Google Cloud. Okay, so you will also lose that. But the one good part I'll tell you about the AWS compared to the other cloud like Google Cloud. Recently, Google Cloud had charged my credit card for the some of the services which I never used it, but I just activated it. Okay, so and then in that case, you cannot reach out to the Google Cloud support that is chargeable, and they will give a support which is like a chat or something which never worked out actually. They will not solve. So that kind of stuff will happen with the Google Cloud and all. They give you $200 for a 2 months or something, but I really feel annoying with working with the Google Cloud because you cannot reach out to support to them free of cost. Now, in AWS, this is not like that. They have a very standard interface where you can reach out for the billing support and they'll respond within 30 minutes. And it's a human response, not a robotic response. So I lost lots of money in the Google Cloud because of that. But AWS, the idea is you can get it back actually. So let's say um, I'll give you one experience. I lost some money because of some of the accounts I tried out, created few resources, forgot to shut down and all. So they charge me. That's a genuine amount they charge it. When I reach out to the support, they say I was using for the learning and teaching purpose. So they reverted back those amounts. So AWS that way I have a very good experience, but not with the Google Cloud. So yeah, make sure that. But again, one thing, Google Cloud will give you $200 or $300, which you can use for anything. But here in AWS, you cannot use for everything. Here you get 1 hour free trial account, but only the resources which is available for free of cost, which you can use for learning the AWS, not for running any application. So please mind it. Okay, so how do we get started? Free trial, free tier, and I don't think so. I have to teach you how to enroll for it and provide your credit card. Okay, so we got into this. Any questions so far?
Rajesh, one question running in my mind. So let's say region, in one region there are at least two availability zone we can say. So
Hmm.
availability zone of region one can be a part of region two, something like that. So let's say my availability zone in Mumbai, under Mumbai, but I want to be a part of the US or something like that. Is it possible or not? That is kind of
This is
disaster
across.
recovery.
So see, DR you can create here within a region having one server you are running in the one availability zone and another server you are running at another availability zone. So this you can create it, and here you have to have a load balancer somewhere, and this will load balance the both the VMs. Now, if you go for across the region, then load balancer will not work here. In this case, you have to use you have to use you have to use uh, domain actually. So here you have to use domain. Okay, so this is a Route 53 service. So this is a one region, there's another region, and then you can do that. So many times what happens, if the traffic is coming from India, go to the Mumbai region. If the traffic is coming from the USA, go to the USA region. So this configuration you have to do at a domain level.
Okay, but there could be some latency increase as well because packet has to travel a long path, something like that happen.
So DNS servers they have on AWS, DNS servers they have hundreds of places. So this is a fully managed services. You don't have to worry about it. Latency is
Okay,
pretty high actually. It's a it's like they are not only offering your services, but like like you there are millions of customers they have it. So they have to keep the latency very high, otherwise no one will use that, right?
okay. So that is possible. It means right. My availability zone
Very
could
much.
be under different region.
I'll put it in a simple line. Everything is possible. The only thing is we have to know the particular service and architect those and design those. Everything is
Okay,
possible.
okay, okay.
As I told you, 5,000 services AWS have.
Mhm.
I'm working on AWS from last 10 years. So far, I have not crossed more than 150 services.
Okay.
Rajesh, like load balancing, do we have DNS balancing? Because load balancing, we know, it takes by the node manager and routes the traffic to different servers. Similarly, DNS as balancing, yeah.
Yeah, DNS is not having balancing. DNS having some rules where we can put that weight management and many other round robin and all. Many things can be done. So here you can influence the DNS server to go to and decide which load balancer and so on.
Okay. So we will see that as well, right? So how to address
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
Rajesh, one
Okay.
more thing. Across the regions, say between AZ1 and AZ2, you say the resiliency will be more. So
Mm.
what type of the connections they use? For example, like optic fiber, or what type of the internal mechanisms they use? Do we need to know that one? Like how fast they
Yeah.
are making?
So high fast fiber optics, of course, without that it will not work. But hardware side, I'll not be able to comment it because
It's internal.
this is
Yeah.
something, mm, it's internal to AWS. Yeah, at a high level, you will have that information in Google also. I mean, if you Google it, but not your exact information, you may get it.
Okay.
So this is very difficult. But yeah, you can just scan the Google. Lots of people will share their own experience over the hardware setup of AWS. They might help you.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we got this account. So I have accounts already. I think I logged in somewhere here. Look at this here. Now these are not the services, okay? These are the category, and inside that you have a subcategory also. So don't get confused. So if you see that here all these categories are there, okay? All these categories. Recently visited categories by me is this one. Now if you see that here, there's a region. Right now I'm selecting the Mumbai region. So you have to work in a different region and so on. So this place you have a command line options where you can do the work on AWS using command line. This is the place support you'll get it and some notifications. So yeah, this you have to get comfortable with it. This is my, I'll go to my dashboard of AWS. So this is the dashboard of AWS. See here. Um, so mine is pretty simple actually, not automated too much. But if you look at the some real projects dashboard, you will have a lots of things here. It's up to you how do you configure. It's all are configurable. Okay. So now, so when I talk about a region, so here see that these are the regions. Okay. So there's some region which is disabled for me. It's not required, maybe outdated, deprecated or something. These are the active regions actually. So right now this is the region which I'm selected, and what you see here is from the Mumbai region. Now here you have all the, see, look at this. I mean, you can see that here, categories for storage, security, satellites related stuff you have, robotics you have, quantum technology you can work with it here, networking and all, migration and transfer, media services, machine learnings, internet, IoT and all, game development related services here you have, front end user, developer, databases, containers, compute, blockchain. Just imagine, I mean, you just imagine and you have all sort of services. Okay. So now we have to focus on the services, some of the services which we want to use it. Compute services. So I'll click on the compute services, and this is a category and these are the subcategory. Mind it, it's not a services, it's a subcategory. Okay. And one of the category which I want to use is EC2. EC2 means elastic cloud compute, in simple way virtual machines. Okay, so this is a subcategory. I click on it. Here you function as a service. Here you have many other services actually. So click on the EC2. Now in EC2, if you look at that, this is a one subcategory, and look at the left side. So many services we have. See here, load balancer are here. Okay, and types of instance which you can create. See here, instance type, spot request, reserved request, on demand, capacity dedicated, and so stuff like that here. Image you have, volumes are here, right? So here you have some resources. So I have one instance running, scaling group and all simple. So don't get lost. It's a huge thing. Slowly you'll get used to it. Focus on only things which you need it. One more rule which I said, always remember, whatever you create, please delete it. Very simple. Okay. So here I have come to compute services to create a one VM of Linux and then one VM of Windows. Two VMs I needed. Okay. So I'll teach you how to create a VM, how to log in the VM, how to create a Windows VM, how to log in Windows VM, so on. Okay. So I'll go ahead and here you see launch instance. Now earlier, if you look at the older recordings of mine, the UI was different actually, and this is a recent UI actually. So if you are get used to the old UI, then you have to again little bit spend some time with that. So Linux, name of the VM. Here, if you remember that while creating a VM, you used to give the disk, you used to give the ISO image, you used to give CPU and all, right? Memory and all, right? So same way actually, it's just a UI operation. So these are the EMIs we have. You know, every regions you have a thousands of EMIs actually. AMIs, machine image. AMIs means Amazon machine image. That is equal to OS image. Simple. Okay. In AWS we call it AMIs. So these are the machine image which we have, and you can browse more. But right now I'm not going for this. Selecting Ubuntu. Okay. And here you can select more. Play around with it. Once you're trying, play around with it. And then here you have a type. Instance type. Type will decide how much CPU and how much RAM you want to give it. So right now, if you see the free tier eligible, that means if you are for me nothing is free, but for you, if you are having the account under the free tier eligibility 1 year, so if you go for T2 micro where you get one CPU, 1 GB RAM, okay, which is free up to 750 hours per month. But if you want to go for more, you see, 2 CPU, 4 GB RAM, 2 CPU, 8 GB RAM, 8 CPU, 32 GB RAM, and side kind of things. So you have to decide what you want, and then you have to check the key pair. What is a key pair? So AWS, no matter whether you go for Windows or Linux, by default will not give you the password ability to way to set up a password. So they will give you a key, and that would, yeah, again you can change the configuration and enable the password and all kind of things, but they'll give you the key. So they will generate a public and private key for you. You can select that key, same one. So public key, they will keep it with themselves. Private key they'll give you to for download. So let me create a key, one key pair. The format of key pair, which is here PM, RSA, whatever you want. For putty you want to use, but PPK. So this is for demo, and I created a key. Now if you have noticed, this key got downloaded, demo.pm, which is a private key, and public key they'll keep it with it. So now they will use the same keys for creating an instance. So in a simple way, you have a keys which you can use for login. Okay, so here networking settings, I'll let it be by default, um, VPC, subnets, and all stuff like that. So I need to discuss about this, how to change it. So you can change it here, but I'm not doing anything else here. Now security groups. So what is security groups? So security groups, we call it, firewall concept, all of you, hello,
Yeah, Rajesh.
firewall concept. So firewall means there's a multiple types of firewall, okay? So one firewall, that is at your OS level, and I'm sure you might have seen this. By the way, what we do with the firewall,
Restrict
what
the
we do with
something we are restricting uh, to access.
uh, firewall, we basically allow and disallow the port connection, right? Some should be not able to connect this port, that port, whatever you're running inside of your machine, right? So there's a multiple types of firewall you have. One, uh, is OS firewall. In every machines you have a OS firewall. If you don't know that, please spend some time. These are the firewall. Okay, this is at the OS level. But there is one more firewall which is available at network level. Okay, network level means your firewall is available at your home. You have a Wi-Fi, right, in your home, and that Wi-Fi you have some router, right? And the router you have one firewall also. Okay, so that is also the, so multiple firewall rules you can allow. You can create a multiple firewall rules actually. So this firewall which I'm this security group which I'm talking about basically is a network level firewall. Please remember that. Okay, it's not a OS level firewall, it's a network level firewall. Security group is a set of firewall rules that control the traffic for your instance, and rules to allow specific traffic to reach your instance. So yeah, so this you can allow, and OS level if you have not allowed, so there's a conflict. Most of the time what happens, when you use the MI, OS level firewall is disabled by default. That's the reason you can control the traffic through security groups from here. So you can create your own security group, or you can select the existing one. I'm going to create my security group, and you have to tell what you want to allow, what you want to don't allow. Later on you can modify. So basically, so I'm creating a Linux box, so I have to allow 22 port actually. HTTP port here it is, and HTTPS and all. You can decide from where it should be accessible, from your IPs or anywhere, all this stuff. Okay, so you can modify all these setups later. So I'm creating new firewall. You know what? Earlier, the new firewall, the name, you could have customize it. Nowadays, that's not allowing here, but you can do it later also. Now, how much storage you want? 8 GB or 80 GB, it's up to you. These are the storage, and these are the types of storage. I'll go for the general purpose, whatever it is available by default. And then some advanced details here. Right now, I'm not talking about this one, as else it'll become a compute itself is having, I told you, right? Hell lot of options are available. So not everything is required. So just leave it as it is. So review that how many VMs you want, one or 1000, and these are the summaries of it, and launch that. That's all. So I created nothing but one VM on AWS, and here you have the VM. Look at this. Now you have to spend some time here going through the details. Go through each and every details, okay? Whether you are understanding or not, you have to, because I have got habit of it, and same time every details is very difficult to discuss. So go through this. And then security. Here this is the security group which you created, firewall. You can allow, disallow. Here you click on it and you can edit this. I know that UI is so much of UI. Initially I used to get confused also, but slowly you'll get used to it. You can see allow, disallow. You can add a more port number here and allow from this one. You can do that. So here go to the again dashboard, and this is the instance, Linux, networking. These are the options which you have. Storage 8 GB, I think. Status check, monitoring is enabled, basic monitoring is enabled, and some tags if you want to add it. I added Linux. So guys, I did nothing but created one Linux instance on AWS. Are you comfortable with it? All of
This
you?
networking, Rajesh, you said at OS level and one at networking level, right? Do we have anywhere else other than these two places, the firewall?
Uh, Actually, this security groups at the network level, VPC level, you have it, and one at the OS level. There is a DNS level, but that is a different way actually. It's not we call it security group, but we call it something else. It's a way to control the things. Load balancer level is also you can do that different ways. Basically, this is a we call it rules, policies, or something like that. So
So
right
even
now,
the application level layer also we can do, na, this firewall setup.
yeah. Okay. So one more instance I'm going to create here, Windows machines. So this time I'll be fast. I just type Windows and select the MIs, which is Windows here. Which version you want, here it is. And I'll go for a little higher because Windows is consuming lots of CPU. So T2 small, I'll go for it. And this time I'll select the same key which I created last time, demo or something. So here, this demo, and then networking setting up, I'll let it be there. And you can select the existing one which I created. Now I don't remember that which one is there because so
Rajesh, sorry for asking. So why we have to create the VPC group here as well?
I'm not creating VPC group. It's a security group. It's a firewall.
Yeah, but it asking. So if you click on the security group, right, there is a drop down. Yeah.
This I'm using
Is this
existing security group instead of creating
okay?
new. Last time I
Okay.
created new one. I'm using the last one. So the problem is I don't remember the name of it. Anyways, I'll go assign to anyone. I'll
I
change
think
it later.
the default only you created.
No, default is there
Default.
from long time. I did not create it. Default was there. I think three. This one is the one. Okay, and this is storage. One machines. Launch it. So I created what? Linux, and one Windows. So now this is the VM created. Now if you notice this VM, you got a two IP address. One is a public IP address, one is a private IP address. So uh, fundamentally you understand this way. Uh, Here, this is your network. I have not discussed about the network in detail, but this is your network, and this network is divided into ages 1, ability zone 2. Okay, and then you decide to create one VM here. Okay, and then you created a VM here also. So the VM which you got the IP address, This IP address is a real IP address. This also real IP address. So from here, if you are inside this VM, you can connect to this. If you are inside this VM, you can connect to this, no problem. Okay, until you are allowing the security groups, I mean firewall and all, you can connect. So this IP address which you got it is a called private IP address, a real IP address. Understood? So here, if you see that this is a private IP address, this will never change till that instance is there. So it's a real IP address, private IP address. It will not change. Are you understanding, all of you?
Then that public IP address will get changed.
Yeah. So I'm talking about public IP address now. So actually, this is this VM which you have, this one, you created it on AWS, but you are setting inside a home somewhere in Bengaluru or maybe UK, London. So this VM is somewhere in the Mumbai region in a data center of AWS. So the question is, how can you connect this one? How can you connect? For example, I'll give you a more simplified way. Can I ping your IP address? Can I connect your IP address which is in your home? No, cannot.
No.
So this whole world is divided into small network, and then all this small network allow and disallow to the WAN, LAN to WAN, wide network, and that is how it works actually. Okay, so here I cannot connect to AWS instance also. So AWS knows that. So what AWS did, they said, hey, just imagine this line which I'm drawing is a AWS network. I'm in a home network, AWS network, right side. So what AWS is saying, hey, let's do one thing. I'll give you one IP address, free IP address. Okay, this IP address, free one. Okay, and this IP address, anyone who will hit this IP address, I will transfer the traffic to the port forwarded to the this IP address. That's all. Because AWS can do that because they have a control over the all entire network. Correct now? So this IP address is accessible around the globe by anyone. The scope of this IP address is global. The scope of this IP address is only to the network. So this is called public IP address. Okay. So in fact, you can talk to your internet provider. Okay. You can call them and say, hey, I need public IP address. So they'll say, yeah, we can give you the public IP address. It will be chargeable 200 rupees, 300 rupees extra. In dollars, maybe $2-3 extra, and they will give you also. That means you hit that IP address, and that will be redirected to your laptop actually. I did it long back. Nowadays, I lost interest in all that kind of work. So that is also possible. Understood, all of you?
Rajesh, this public IP, I think it is a real public IP, right? We call it out as a global IP. And I
Hmm.
think if we allow the SSH traffic or incoming traffic, it can be reachable from any of the nodes. So basically, as per my understanding, this is the real public. There is no netting and all that, right? What we can see in that instance.
Yeah. So they give it to you this public IP address, and then you hit here. They will redirect to that traffic to the private IP address. That's all. So I needed two public IP address to redirect to this one. So now this IP address is not permanent actually. Okay, what will happen? AWS has a pool of public IP address. So let's say if you shut it down this IP address, this machine, so this IP address will be always permanent because it's a network internal, but this will be released to the pool. So next time you let's say shut it down and then start it, then you'll get a new IP address, public IP address. This will change. This will not change. This will change. So that is a problem. So if you restart it, it will not be changing, but if you stop and start, it will change. By the way, this public IP address is free given to you. So now then you'll say, Rajesh, okay, I understood this public IP address concept and private IP address. but I don't want this to change. Okay, this IP address should not be changed. So in that case, you have to buy that IP address. Okay, that's called permanent IP address. In AWS, we call it EIP. So do we have here? See here. Look at this EIP. And here I bought one IP address here. I'm paying for it. So this is chargeable as long as you are not running attached to the some instance. If you attach to this some instance, it will be free of cost actually. Okay, so this is something which you have to do that. So now simple way, because we are outside of the network, we have to connect to the public IP address. This will redirect to the private IP address, and that is how we will work. Understood, all of you?
Rajesh, you said if we restart the VM, the public IP address will change. Is that correct? Or
No,
like
no.
we have to destroy the VM?
Restart the VM, public IP address will not change. Stop
Okay.
and start, then it will change. It will be assigned another IP address from the pool. Because
What is the
stop
difference?
and
Stop and
restart
start and
means
restart? Yeah.
you're stopping that. That means you're consuming no CPU and no RAM from the AWS. So that way AWS will release that IP address to the market,
Okay.
to the market, to the pool. But you have restarted, so they know that you are restarting. You need one public IP address, so they do not release that to the pool rather than assign the same one.
Understood. Okay. Thanks.
Okay, so now the question is, how can we access this? So this is the Linux, and I think last session I discussed already. I given you some sufficient material how to access Linux. You can access the Linux using the keys or password. I don't have a password, but I have a keys, so I can use this as such. I can use putty, all this thing. So let me show you here. So I'll go to use the SSH. Okay, so this is one download. Where is download? Here. Now this is the key. Okay, so I'll go and use git bash. So SSH git bash it can be used. So PM file you can use for the SSH, but putty don't understand the PM. You have to convert to the PPK. I'll teach you that one also. SSH-I and username. So I demo.pm and username is, so I don't know the usernames. I know that, but I want you to see that. Connect and see the username is Ubuntu. Correct now? So this is embedded in the AMIs itself actually. Okay. So Ubuntu. Ubuntu at the rate of public IP address and enter. Yes, public. So see that where I have logged in, you have logged into the machines. Do whatever you want, it's up to you. Now, if you want to access to the putty, what to do? So first you have to convert the PM to PPK. How do you do that? So putty gen you can use it. Putty gen. I've installed in this putty gen. And here conversions, import key, downloads, demo, this one, save private key. Yes, demo ppk. This is the ppk file. Okay, see that here, ppk. Done. So you got the ppk file here. See, so now I can use the putty also. And what is IP address? IP address is this one, right? IP address here plus button, auth credential, here private key for authentication, browse, ppk, open, accept, Ubuntu. And here I have logged into VMs using putty also. Now you will say, Rajesh, I want the password to be enabled. How do we do that? So you have to modify SSH configuration. So let me become a root. Okay. Now I'll go to VI etc ssd ssd configurations, and here one option is there, password. Locate that carefully. Here, password authentication no, to make it yes. Now password authentication is enabled. You have to restart the service. Systemctl restart sshd. Done. Now let me set the password for Ubuntu. Linux command Ubuntu Raju 123 Raju 123. I set the password. New console. IP address. Open Ubuntu Rajesh Raju, right? Raju 123. Done. So this is the way you log in and use it, whatever purpose you want it to do it. What do you want to do? So I want to set up a web server. So systemctl, no, yum, right? It's a Ubuntu apt, sorry. So I'll become a root apt install Apache 2. I'm installing Apache server. It's almost done. Done. I'm going to start this. Systemctl start Apache 2. And can I access it? Public IP address, you can access it. So here, see, oh, what is happening? This is Apache. Now this is the AT port is enabled by default. That's the reason I'm able to access. But what I'll do, look at this here. Security group here. See, this is my security group here. Okay, I'm editing, and you see AT port which is here, HTTP. Okay, so delete this, save it, and now see, not accessible. Still coming, searching. So AT port, remember the security group? Many people get frustrated actually, You run the some software on 8080, 8090, 9000, 9001, and you are trying to access it, not accessible. Where is the problem you got to know? Correct? All of you?
Okay, so Rajesh, we have removed 80 port, right? HTTP. So I think in that case, we won't be able to access our web server then.
Yes, AT port is running on a web server, right? Now I
Yeah.
enable it again, refresh. See? So security group, you can control the all the traffic on the port. That's a firewall, we call it. Security group is equal to firewall. Okay, so now this
Okay.
is how you can access the Linux. How about Windows? So let me go to the Windows machines. Click on it. Windows machines key you won't use. You can't use it. Microsoft don't allow. So password. But how do we get a password? So you have to generate a password using keys. So Windows machine, click on the connect, and here you can see RDP client. Okay, and here you have get a password. Click on this. Look, upload the private key, which is I had it, and this will generate a password. So now RDP, let me mstsc tsc, correct now. So what is IP address? You can use the DNS name also instead of IP address. DNS name and IP address both are same. Connect. And why is not accessible? Any idea?
Did we allow the incoming traffic?
What was that?
RDP protocol. RDP protocol.
Which one? Anyone remember that?
Mm,
So actually 3386 or something like, right? No? Yes, let me go
three.
and
Yeah,
correct
I'm
you.
not remember, but I think.
Yeah, 3386. Let me around. Where is the edit button? Security groups here. Edit. This I know that UI is little, frustrating, but you get used to it. I remember that 10 years before I used to get very irritated, but once you get used to it, you will get comfortable. Okay, so allow from everywhere, RDP 3389, save it. So now if I do that, see, username, administrator by default. How do I get it? So you can ask over there only. Let me go to that Windows machines, connect, RDP client. Here, and this is the username. Okay, and password I have to generate one more time, and this is the password. And now this is your Windows machines. We have got it, which is hosted by AWS. And do whatever you want. I don't think so. I have to teach you how to work with a Windows machine. Understood, all of you?
Yeah.
What is the default port for this RDP, Rajesh?
3389. Still loading. Here it is, your Windows machine, hosted by AWS. Let me come out of it, cancel this. And now what you should do, whatever you created, you should delete this. So let me delete Windows machines. Linux machines, I need it actually. So terminate it. Now here, refresh button, just get comfortable with it. It will take some time. Multiple options are there. Stop, restart, reboot, terminate. Now, multiple actions are there. Each one of these is just focus on it. Don't ignore any of this. Don't rush. You are your objective is to learn, not to complete anything. Learning is a ongoing process. So go through this, and many things are there here. Okay, so this is something compute services which I talked about it. Now, next thing which we have, storage services. How can we avail the storage? That is a questions I should answer to you. Okay, so before that, let's have one break for 5 minutes max, I guess. Join this meeting again, and then I'll talk about two topics together: storage and networking, and so on. Will that be okay for all of you?
Rajesh, one question, Rajesh. This command
Yeah.
prompt you're talking about initially, that is like for the Azure we use PowerShell, right? For the Amazon Web Service also it's PowerShell. Like what is the command?
No, 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 no. Why we? I mean, this question is coming not from you, but hundreds of other people. When we talk about the Azure, why will we think about the PowerShell? Tell me.
Uh, because they, I
Because of
mean,
Microsoft?
yeah, people
No,
talk about
Azure.
PowerShell, so people get used to it. That's what it is.
No, 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 no. It's not true. So Azure is a cloud company. Microsoft OS is a operating system of Windows. Microsoft offer the Windows operating system. Both are different context. So when you say Azure is a cloud platform, there you can get Linux VM also, Windows VM also. Now the question is, how do you want to connect? So you can use SSH or PowerShell. Anything you
Oh,
can use it. So this PowerShell is a command line utility. I'm using put is a command line utility. I showed you the bash is a command line utility. Which one you are comfortable is up to you. Let's say many people are comfortable working on the. You can do SSH. Let me show you this. You can do SSH through PowerShell also. Let me show you. This is the machine PowerShell. Okay, that machine I have it still, right? Yeah. So exit this command. I run in front of you. You
yeah.
can run here also. You can run. See here. Enter. See here. You are
Okay.
inside a Linux now. So these are the way to communicate with that or run the automate and things like that. Make sense?
Yeah, sure.
If you would have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopsschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Thanks for watching.